the wind blows, the waves sway gently, and at the center of the scene, she appears, Venus, goddess of love and beauty, emerging from a giant shell as her marble-like skin glows under an almost celestial light. Her golden hair flows in the air as if alive, and her gaze is serene, distant, as if she knows her image will be etched into history forever. Beside her, the wind god Zephyrus and his lover Chloris propel her toward the shore, while one of the hours extends a mantle to cover her nudity. This is the birth of Venus, one of the most iconic paintings of the Renaissance. Created by Sandro Botticelli in the 15th century, this masterpiece has transcended its time to become a universal symbol of beauty. It has been replicated, honored, and reinterpreted in film, fashion, and popular culture. But what makes this painting so special? Why does it continue to fascinate us more than 500 years later? And most importantly, is it truly the best painting of the Renaissance? To begin, I must mention that this painting has impressive dimensions. It measures approximately 278 centimeters in width by 172 centimeters in height, which is nearly 3 meters by 2. Additionally, it is believed that at some point, the upper part of the painting was trimmed, meaning it may have originally been even larger. Botticelli used a technique that is now quite rare to create this masterpiece: tempera on canvas, a method I will explain later. It is presumed that the painting was commissioned by the Medici family, although this remains a topic of debate. To this day, it has not been definitively determined who specifically requested its creation. What is certain is that the Medici, one of the most influential families of the Renaissance, were great patrons of the arts and funded numerous works. One detail that supports this theory is the presence of orange trees on the right side of the composition, a symbol closely associated with the Medici family. Despite its current significance, the birth of Venus did not always enjoy the admiration it receives today. In fact, for centuries, it fell into obscurity. Although Botticelli was a well-regarded artist in his time, his style occupied a transitional space between the Gothic art of the 14th century and the Renaissance, which would later be fully developed by figures like Leonardo da Vinci. Over time, his approach to depicting anatomy and movement no longer aligned with the ideals of Renaissance art, and as a result, his work lost prominence. It was not until the 19th century, with the rise of the pre-Raphaelite movement, that Botticelli was rediscovered and reappraised. To understand just how marginalized his art became, it is enough to note that in the 16th century, when experts compiled a list of the most valuable artworks for the court of the Duke of Tuscany, Botticelli was not even included among the artists deemed worthy of preservation. Moreover, the painting was nearly lost. In the late 15th century, the monk Girolamo Savonarola expelled the Medici family from Florence and established a theocratic regime. In his quest to purify the city of what he saw as moral corruption, he organized the infamous Bonfire of the Vanities in 1497, during which artworks, jewelry, cosmetics, and other objects deemed symbols of decadence were destroyed. Fortunately, the birth of Venus was housed in a villa on the outskirts of Florence and was spared from destruction. However, the painting was not without controversy in its own time. Today, we may view it as a conventional artistic nude, but in the 15th century, any depiction of the human body that lacked a religious justification was considered indecent. The only acceptable reason for painting nudes was their connection to biblical narratives, such as the expulsion of Adam and Eve from paradise, which symbolized their loss of innocence. Outside of this context, a nude figure could be perceived as a subversive act. In fact, the birth of Venus is considered one of the first paintings of the Italian Renaissance to depict a nude Venus without a Christian justification. But there's more. Some art historians argue that the painting may have originally been part of a set of 3 works, along with Spring and Pallas and the Centaur. It is believed that these pieces were commissioned around the same time, as the birth of Venus has been found to have a 3-centimeter trim at the top, which, if restored, would align its dimensions with the other 2 paintings. Another fascinating detail is that the model who inspired the figure of Venus in these three paintings was the enigmatic Simonetta Vespucci. Simonetta Vespucci was a young woman of extraordinary beauty who passed away at the age of 23 due to tuberculosis. Her birth name was Simonetta Cataneo, but upon marrying Marco Vespucci at the age of 16, she adopted his surname and became part of Florentine nobility. Her presence at court aroused admiration, and she quickly became a symbol of beauty in her time. Her fame was such that numerous artists immortalized her in their works. In addition to Botticelli, painters like Piero di Cosimo and Domenico Ghirlandaio created portraits of her. In 1475, at a jousting tournament held in Florence, she was proclaimed Queen of Beauty, a title that solidified her status as the ideal female figure of the Renaissance. Much speculation surrounds the relationship between Botticelli and Simonetta. Although there is no conclusive evidence that the painter was in love with her, the number of times he depicted her throughout his career has fueled this theory. He not only portrayed her in The Birth of Venus, but also in Venus and Mars, The Calumny of Apelles, various representations of the Virgin, and even in the Trials of Moses for the Sistine Chapel. Additionally, he painted a posthumous portrait of her after her passing. Perhaps the most intriguing fact is that Botticelli requested to be buried at the feet of Simonetta Vespucci in the Church of All Saints in Florence. Many interpret this as a testament to his devotion to her, though the true nature of their relationship remains a mystery. One of the technical peculiarities of The Birth of Venus is the surface on which it was painted. In the 15th century, it was common for artists to work on wooden panels. However, Botticelli chose to paint this masterpiece on canvas, something quite rare for his time. Additionally, he employed the egg tempera technique, a method that is no longer widely used today. Tempera painting involves mixing powdered pigments with a binder, in this case, egg yolk, which helps fix the color to the surface. To prepare it, the pigment is first diluted with a small amount of water before the yolk is added, acting as an adhesive. This technique has certain characteristics. It dries very quickly, requiring the artist to work with precision and leaving little room for corrections. Additionally, because it is an organic material, egg yolk can deteriorate over time if not properly preserved. Using tempera gives the painting a distinctive texture and a unique luminosity, but it also comes with limitations, particularly in blending colors and achieving smooth tonal transitions. In this regard, The Birth of Venus showcases Botticelli's mastery of the technique, achieving a delicate and vibrant finish despite the complexities of working with tempera. From a formal perspective, it is highly likely that Botticelli took inspiration from classical sculpture to depict the nude body of Venus. Her posture follows the contrapposto, a typical feature of Greco-Roman art in which the hips tilt to one side while the torso shifts in the opposite direction, creating a sense of harmony and dynamism in the figure. The modeling of her body also possesses a distinctly sculptural quality, with soft contours and carefully studied proportions. Mathematical relationships can even be observed in its composition. The distance between her nipples is equivalent to the space between her chest and navel, and the same measurement repeats between her navel and legs. These precise calculations, along with the classical canon of proportions, reflect Botticelli's pursuit of an idealized concept of beauty. Beyond its structure, however, The Birth of Venus is rich in symbolism. One of its most striking elements is the presence of roses floating through the air. According to the Greek poet Anacreon, the first rosebush sprouted when Venus set foot on Earth, making the flower a symbol of love and desire. Another iconic element in the composition is the shell upon which Venus stands. In mythological tradition, the shell symbolizes fertility and sensuality, and its shape has often been interpreted as an allegory of femininity and the creation of life. However, beneath the apparent delicacy of the scene lies a much darker story. To the left of the painting, two winged figures blow to propel Venus toward the shore. They represent Zephyrus, the god of the west wind, and his lover Chloris, who, although depicted in the painting as part of a bucolic setting, are at the center of a myth filled with violence and transformation. According to legend, Chloris was a beautiful nymph associated with flowers and spring. One day, while walking through the fields, Zephyrus saw her and became enamored with her beauty. Instead of courting her, he decided to abduct and forcibly take her. This story, like many in Greco-Roman mythology, illustrates the complex and often oppressive relationship between gods and mortals, where divine power frequently overrides human will. In the context of the birth of Venus, the presence of Zephyrus and Chloris not only adds dynamism and movement to the scene, but also introduces the duality of destruction and rebirth. Just as Chloris was transformed into Flora after her violent encounter with Zephyrus, Venus also emerges from an act of divine dismemberment to become the goddess of love and beauty. Botticelli, fully aware of the symbolic weight of the myth, does not merely depict Venus's arrival into the world, he also hints at the intricate relationship between desire, power, and metamorphosis in classical mythology. Despite its static nature, the painting conveys an exceptional sense of movement. Botticelli masterfully captures the wind in the flowing folds of the garments, in Venus's floating hair, and in the dynamic gestures of the characters. The triangular composition, with Venus at its center, reinforces the painting's visual harmony, granting it an almost divine balance. Another fascinating aspect is the peculiar treatment of the background. Unlike other Renaissance works, which aimed for realistic perspective, the landscape in The Birth of Venus appears dreamlike. The horizon is unusually high, the trees seem disproportionate, and the waves of the sea adopt a geometric rhythm that resembles a tapestry more than a naturalistic seascape. There is a little-known detail about this painting. Its title is imprecise. The Birth of Venus does not actually depict the moment of the goddess's birth, but rather the instant she arrives at the shore. In classical mythology, the birth of Venus is a far more dramatic and symbolic event. According to legend, Venus, or Aphrodite in Greek mythology, emerged from the sea following the castration of Uranus, the primordial god of the sky. It was his own son, Cronus, or Saturn in the Roman version, who mutilated him and cast his remains into the ocean. From the foam created by this violent act, Venus emerged, fully grown, floating upon the waters. This episode has been depicted in various works under the title Venus Anadyomene, Venus Rising from the Sea, a name that, in fact, would be more accurate for Botticelli's painting. What Botticelli truly portrays in this work is not her birth, but her arrival on solid ground. Propelled by the breath of the wind, god Zephyrus and his companion Chloris, Venus approaches the shore, where one of the Horae awaits with a mantle to cover her. Although the exact location of her arrival is not specified, mythological accounts suggest it could be Cyprus, Sicily, or a symbolic island dedicated to the goddess. Throughout the centuries, The Birth of Venus has been regarded by many art historians not only as the greatest painting of the Renaissance, but also as one of the most important in the history of art. Its impact was so significant that it marked a turning point in the representation of beauty and mythology in Western painting. But in the end, the answer lies with you. After learning about its history, symbolism, and everything behind this masterpiece, do you believe it is truly the greatest painting of the Renaissance? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so let me know in the comments. Of course, this is a subjective matter, and each of you will have your own perspective. Any opinion is welcome. After all, art is a personal experience. And thank you for watching until the end. I'd like to invite you to visit our website and take a look at our collection of available artworks so you can start your own collection of historical paintings. Among them, you'll find The Birth of Venus and many others we've discussed on this channel. Each painting tells a story, so if you're as passionate about art as I am, I'll leave the link in the description for you to browse, place your order, and purchase your favorite painting. Shipping is free worldwide, and by making a purchase, you'll be supporting me in creating more videos like this every week. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.